He thought he had everything: fame, power, a billion-dollar medical empire. But what if the one thing he believed he could never have suddenly appeared, times two? At the height of winter, during the most glamorous charity gala of the year, billionaire CEO Daniel Whitmore was ready to toast another flawless success. The chandeliers sparkled, the orchestra played, and every powerful figure in the country was watching him. But when his ex-wife walked in, uninvited, flanked by two children who looked exactly like him, the entire room fell silent. His glass shattered on the marble floor. His heart wasn't far behind. He had been told he could never be a father. That door was closed, locked, sealed by science. But what if it was all a lie? As whispers grew and cameras turned, Daniel was forced to ask the unthinkable. Were these his children? Had someone close, stolen 5 years of fatherhood from him? And more terrifying than that, why? This is not just a story about betrayal or scandal or wealth. It's a story about what happens when the truth crashes a party no one expected it to attend. Are you ready for the story that had every guest whispering, "Did you see what happened to Daniel Whitmore?" Keep watching. The truth is colder than the snow outside. The grand ballroom of the Whitmore estate glowed like a fairy tale palace. Crystal chandeliers bathed the crowd in golden light as a string quartet played softly from the corner. Billionaire CEO Daniel Whitmore stood near the marble staircase, his tailored tux crisp against the cold winter air that slipped in through the open entryway. Outside, Vermont's snowstorm had just begun to whisper over the hills. Daniel, 42, was the genius behind Neurovia Health Tech, a company that had revolutionized advanced medical technologies. Tonight's gala was his proudest tradition, an annual winter fundraiser supporting free tech for children's hospitals. Celebrities, senators, and tech moguls mingled, sipping $1,000 champagne and toasting the man who had built his empire from nothing. And yet Daniel's gaze was distant. Even as Rachel Green, his longtime assistant, leaned in to whisper, "We've already raised 30% more than last year." His smile barely formed. Money couldn't fill the void inside him. Nothing could. Not since the diagnosis. Infertile. 5 years ago, Dr. Samuel Hayes had uttered those words like a death sentence. The news shattered Daniel. It crushed his dreams of a family and ultimately destroyed his marriage with Olivia Bennett, the woman he still dreamt about in quiet moments. She had wanted children more than anything. He couldn't give them to her, so he let her go. But what if he hadn't known the full truth? Rachel suddenly stiffened at his side. "Sir, I need to prepare you. Olivia just walked in." Daniel's glass slipped slightly in his hand. "What? She wasn't on the guest list." "She came with Dr. Keller from Memorial Pediatrics. They're collaborating on a fundraiser. She's not alone." The room seemed to tilt. Across the ballroom, Olivia stood beneath the chandelier, radiant in an emerald green dress. Her auburn hair fell in soft waves, just like he remembered. But Daniel barely noticed her, because two small children clung to her hands. A boy and a girl. Twins. They couldn't have been older than 5. Their hair was golden. Their eyes, his eyes, steel blue. Identical to the eyes Daniel saw every morning in the mirror. His glass slipped from his fingers, shattering on the floor. Conversations hushed as guests turned, whispering. Daniel couldn't move. Were his eyes deceiving him? Could it really be? Rachel touched his arm gently. "Sir, are you all right?" Daniel's voice was barely a whisper. "Those children, with Olivia, they look exactly like me. What would you do if you saw your own reflection staring back at you from a child you never knew existed?" He turned to Rachel, trembling. "Find Dr. Hayes, now." Within minutes, Dr. Hayes arrived, his expression wary. "You told me I couldn't have children," Daniel demanded under his breath. "Are you absolutely sure about that diagnosis?" The doctor hesitated. "Daniel, medical certainty is rare. I told you the probability was extremely low, but I never said impossible." "Then who said 0? Before he could reply, Rachel returned. "Sir, Olivia's coming this way." Daniel looked up. She was walking across the ballroom with poise, the twins at her side. The boy's gaze locked on Daniel with startling intensity, as if he already knew. The girl whispered something to Olivia and giggled. "Daniel," Olivia said softly, It's Been a long time. 5 years, he replied, unable to tear his eyes away from the children. You didn't tell me you had kids. I tried, she said, her voice barely audible. I called, emailed, came to your office, but your assistant, Andrew Collins, said you didn't want to hear from me. Andrew Collins, Daniel's former right-hand man, who had mysteriously left to join Nicholas Drake, his fiercest competitor. A chill ran through him. Is that when I started getting those legal threats? Olivia asked suddenly. The cease and desist letters? Daniel's eyes widened. I never sent you anything like that. Olivia bit her lip. Then someone else did. Someone who wanted to keep us apart. The little girl tugged at Olivia's sleeve. Mommy, is this the man from the pictures? Emma, Olivia whispered, flushing. Please, sweetheart, not now. But the boy stepped forward. You have my eyes, he said, bold and clear. Daniel knelt slowly. What's your name? I'm Liam. That's Emma. We're twins. We're 5.5. Daniel's breath caught. That would mean they were conceived just before the divorce, just before the diagnosis. He turned to Olivia, voice shaking. We need to talk. Ye not here, she said quickly, glancing nervously around. A reporter was already scribbling notes. Suddenly, a spoon tapped a glass, and a new voice echoed from the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, said Nicholas Drake, Daniel's rival, let's take a moment to recognize our host, Daniel Whitmore, a man of innovation, charity, and maybe tonight of surprise revelations. The crowd laughed lightly, but Daniel heard the threat beneath the words. Was Nicholas behind this? Had he known? Had he orchestrated all of it? Daniel turned to Olivia. Do you trust me? He asked. I don't know anymore, she replied honestly, but Liam and Emma deserve to know the truth. Daniel took a breath, trying to steady his racing heart. The past was no longer behind him. It had walked into the ballroom with 2 sets of tiny feet, and it looked him straight in the eye. Could a lie destroy a life? Or could the truth rebuild it? We're sorry to interrupt this moment, but this story is just beginning. What do you think Olivia's real reason was for coming tonight? Was it truly to tell the truth, or something more? And do you believe someone powerful is trying to keep Daniel from knowing his children? And why? Let us know what you think in the comments, and tell us where in the world you're watching from. If this story touched you, please drop a heart and like the video to support us. The glitter of the ballroom faded behind them as Daniel led Olivia and the twins into a side corridor, away from prying eyes and cameras. His heart pounded, not from the speech his rival had just made, not even from the cold rage brewing inside him. It was the children, those small, familiar faces, the questions in their eyes. Inside his private study, the door clicked shut behind them. For the first time in 5 years, Daniel and Olivia were alone, with the truth between them. You said you tried to reach me, he began, voice tight. What exactly happened? Olivia sat down, her fingers trembling as she helped the twins out of their coats. I found out I was pregnant just weeks after the divorce, she said. I called your office, emailed, I even showed up in person, but your assistant, Andrew, told me you wanted no contact, that hearing about the pregnancy would destroy you. Daniel's fists clenched. He said that? She nodded. Eventually, I received legal threats. I thought they were from you. I was scared, Daniel. I didn't want to hurt you more. But I never sent any of that, he growled. I never knew. Why would Andrew do that? What was his motive? And who was he really working for? Liam wandered over to Daniel's desk and picked up a framed wedding photo. Mommy, this is you, he said with quiet awe. Daniel looked at Olivia, searching her face for signs of deception. But all he saw was exhaustion, sadness, and maybe something else. Regret. Then came a knock. Rachel stepped in, her expression grim. Sir, I'm sorry, but we have a problem. The journalist, Dylan Hart, has already shown those photos to guests. And Nicholas Drake, he's hinting at board instability. Daniel's jaw tightened. Of course he is. He planned this. But then came the blow he didn't expect. It's Ethan, Rachel said, her voice urgent. He wandered off. He's missing. A moment of silence. Then chaos. Daniel was already moving before the words fully landed. Get security, seal the doors, and keep Drake away from Olivia and Emma. Outside, the storm had worsened. Wind howled down the estate's corridors. Snow tapped against windows like fingers trying to break in. The electricity flickered once, then held. "Ethan," Daniel called, his voice echoing down the ornate hallway. "Where are you, buddy?" Why would a 5-year-old walk off during a storm? Was he hiding or searching for something? Room by room, Daniel searched. The music room, the library, the cinema. Nothing but shadows. Silence. His heart pounded harder with every second lost. As he rounded a corner, he nearly collided with Olivia. "Any sign of him?" she gasped. "Not yet." "He's always been curious," she said, tears welling up. "He likes to explore. But this house, this storm—" "Then we'll find him together," Daniel said, gripping her hand tightly. They turned a corner near Daniel's private study, usually locked, and saw it, the door slightly ajar, a sliver of light glowing from inside. Olivia rushed in first. There, standing on a chair by the desk, was Ethan, completely unharmed, staring at the same wedding photo. "You found me," he said softly, not the least bit afraid. "I wanted to see more pictures of you and Mommy." Daniel exhaled, the tension finally releasing from his body. "You scared us, kiddo," he said, kneeling beside him. "You can't just wander off like that." Ethan looked him dead in the eye. "Are you my father?" The room froze. Daniel looked to Olivia. She gave a single nod. Daniel turned back to the boy. Yes, Ethan. I'm your father." "I knew it," the boy said simply. "I have your nose." A sudden flash lit up the room. Dylan Hart again. He had followed them. "Mr. Whitmore," the journalist called. "Care to comment on your secret family?" Daniel rose slowly, his posture cold and towering. "This is a private moment," he said through clenched teeth. "And if you don't back off, you'll find yourself escorted out by my lawyers." But Dylan only smirked. "Too late. I already got the shot." Back in the kitchen, Olivia gathered Ethan into her arms. Emma squealed happily as Rachel returned with hot chocolate. The storm outside was merciless now, snow piling up against the estate windows. No one would be leaving tonight. Daniel stood at the window, watching the wind sweep across the gardens. For 5 years he had lived in isolation. Powerful, yes, but empty. And tonight, everything had changed. "What do we do now?" Olivia asked, her voice soft but resolute. Daniel turned to her, his face shadowed by resolve. "We fight back. We control the narrative. Nicholas wants to ruin me, but he has no idea what I'm willing to protect. Twarney. But what if the real enemy wasn't just Nicholas? What if someone else was still watching, still pulling strings? And how deep did the deception really go?" We're sorry to interrupt this emotional moment, but do you think Ethan's disappearance was truly accidental? Or could someone have led him away? And should Daniel go public with the truth, or keep the children hidden until it's safe? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And tell us, what country are you watching from? If this story moved you, don't forget to like the video and drop a heart to support our channel. The storm had finally quieted by morning, blanketing the Whitmore estate in a sheet of untouched white. The sun peeked over the horizon, casting a golden glow across the Vermont hills. Inside, Daniel stood by the fireplace, documents spread across his desk. His world had shifted overnight, not because of scandal, but because 2 small voices had whispered the word "Daddy" into his heart. And now he knew the truth. Rachel entered quietly, tablet in hand. "Daniel, the board meeting's been moved up. They're voting on your removal at 11:30. "Let them," Daniel replied calmly. "I'm not walking into that meeting to beg for my job. I'm going in to reveal the truth." Behind him, Olivia helped the twins into their winter clothes. Emma twirled in her new blue coat, while Ethan examined the buttons like he was solving a riddle. Rachel hesitated. "Are you sure? Once we go public with this, there's no undoing it." "Sure." Daniel glanced toward his children, now laughing near the window. "There's no turning back from being a father." But as the board meeting approached, a surprising message came in. Nicholas Drake wanted a private meeting. Daniel agreed. 20 minutes later, Nicholas entered the study with his usual polished arrogance, though the circles under his eyes hinted at a sleepless night. "Daniel," he began smoothly, "let's not destroy each other. Step down quietly, let me stabilize the company, and your new family avoids the spotlight." Daniel didn't flinch. You sabotaged my life. You orchestrated the fake infertility diagnosis, intercepted Olivia's messages, and stole 5 years of fatherhood from me. Nicholas's expression hardened. Prove it. Daniel opened a leather folder and slid it across the desk. Inside were emails between Nicholas and Andrew Collins, sworn testimony from Dr. Hayes, and intercepted communication logs. Nicholas scanned the papers. His mask slipped. You wouldn't dare go public. Watch me, Daniel said. You can choose. Step down quietly or be exposed in front of the entire board. That moment, Olivia appeared in the doorway. Your greed kept a father from his children. You should be ashamed. For a second, just a second, Nicholas looked like he might be. But was it regret or calculation? After Nicholas stormed out, the board meeting began virtually. Faces filled the screen, skeptical, tense, expectant. Daniel spoke calmly, clearly, walking them through the evidence of betrayal, manipulation, and corporate sabotage. By the end, the silence was deafening. Then came the motion and the vote. Nicholas Drake has submitted his resignation, the board chair announced, effective immediately. Daniel exhaled, but there was no joy, only relief. Still, another challenge remained. Outside, reporters had gathered, fueled by rumor. Rachel turned to Daniel. Do you want me to cancel the press? He shook his head. No, I'm not hiding anymore. Later that afternoon, under a soft winter sun, Daniel, Olivia, Emma, and Ethan stood before the cameras. Not as a scandal, as a family. I discovered I was a father just 2 nights ago, Daniel said, holding back emotion. And I've never been more certain of anything in my life. That these 2 children, Liam and Lily, are the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. Olivia spoke next. We were separated by lies, but we chose truth and healing. Then in a moment that wasn't planned, Emma stepped forward to the microphone. I always wanted a daddy. Now I have one. The crowd softened. Even the cameras blinked slower. But the question lingered. Could they rebuild what was broken? Could trust be restored after 5 years of silence? Back inside, the family gathered in the kitchen with Mrs. Linda Brooks preparing hot chocolate. Laughter filled the space where tension had once lived. Ethan was building a snow fortress out back. Emma was trying to teach Rachel how to twirl. And Daniel? He was looking at Olivia. You came back for them, he said. But did you come back for me? She didn't answer right away. Then, I came because I wanted them to know you, but now I'm wondering what it means that I still know you too. They stood in silence, the hum of snow melting off the roof above. Later, as the sun dipped low and the sky turned a soft lavender, Daniel pulled out a folded letter. I started writing this 5 years ago, the night I got the diagnosis. I never finished it. He handed it to Olivia. She opened it. Inside were just a few lines. If I could give you the world, I would, but I can't. So instead, I'll give you the one thing I have left, the freedom to find happiness, even if it's not with me. She looked up, eyes glassy. You always had a way with words, and you always knew how to finish the stories I was too afraid to write. That night, Daniel sat beside the twins as they drifted to sleep. He kissed their foreheads, something he never thought he'd get the chance to do. The wind outside had quieted. The storm was over. A new story was beginning. But for you watching now, what would you have done in Daniel's shoes? Would you have forgiven, fought back, walked away? And do you think Olivia should have pushed harder to reach him? Or was she right to protect the children in silence? We're sorry to interrupt at this point, but we'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think about this story? If you loved it, comment 3 below. If you thought it was just okay, hit 2. And if you feel it didn't quite connect, leave a 1. And don't forget, where in the world are you watching from? Please like, tap the heart, and share this video if it moved you. It helps more than you know.